Welcome everybody to the virtual mindfulness group. We're here, we're back. I wish we were there, but this has got to be good enough. So we've got our normal cast of characters here, and I will just say glad to be here, and I'm glad that you're all here. And whoever else, let's just go ahead and check in a little bit.
Hi, I'm Michael Hetzner. I'm glad to be back with you today.
I'm Margot Kennard, and also happy to be back. This is wonderful.
Good morning, I'm Susan Schwab. Wish I could see everybody.
I'm Josh Coles. It's great to be with you again.
And you can see us all in our natural habitats. So that's a plus. And
with my dog behind.
There may even be some extra volunteers that show up that have 4 legs. So I hope you're all well and safe. And we're going to move right ahead following on our last group. As Chaplain Mahar described, we'll be meeting with the group in the normal way every week. If you have questions or comments, perhaps you're new to the group or something has come up for you in your meditation practice, feel free to send that question or comment in the form of a kite to Chaplain Mahar, and she will forward that to us, and we'll do our very best to respond to whatever it is that you have to say. So at least we can hear from you a little bit. Okay, so we'll begin with our first sitting meditation that will be led by Michael Hetzner.
So after the sitting meditation, I'm going to talk a little bit about formal and informal practice because it's a good time to review this since we've been away for a while. So we start off by finding a posture. It may be helpful to do some brief stretching before we start to kind of awaken our body and mind. Perhaps just a little bit of shoulder movement, up and down, and back and forward, and the neck down and to each side. If you have space, you may even want to move your arms a little bit. Stretch way up and down. And then come into your dignified posture. You feel your seat firmly planted, your feet firmly planted, your hands in a relaxed position. Your eyes can be closed or open, gently gazing down forward. Your spine is erect, not stiff, but not slouched. That word dignified really describes it, like a king or a queen sitting on their throne, just calmly sitting. And we'll sit like this for about 10 minutes. We begin by feeling our body. When we are in the body, we're in the present. So we begin by feeling the contact of our body with the earth. We might notice any areas of tension in the neck, jaw, shoulders. and let them release. And then we bring attention to the breath. Breath is always with us. So it's very easy to access the breath. Wherever we feel it most, perhaps at the nostrils, the chest, or the abdomen. And notice each in and out breath. The breath is our anchor, gives us a focus. We become mindful of whatever happens in our mind and body, and sometimes we inevitably, our attention will be drawn away to feelings, thoughts. The breath is our anchor. When we notice that we're away, we come back gently each time, just noticing the physical sensation of the breath, rising and falling. Perhaps sounds will grab our attention. And we note the sound, and then let it be and come back to the breath. We have a tendency with any experience, whether it be a thought, a feeling, a sensation, to either push it away or grasp onto it. And in this meditation, we note that and we just let it be. We try to avoid and notice the grasping, the pushing away, and we just let it go and come back to the breath. We let go of any expectations we might have to feel a certain way. How we're feeling in a given moment is simply how we're feeling. Our attitude can be one of gentle patience with ourselves in each moment. We're practicing awareness of what is as it is, arising and passing away in every moment. As soon as we notice a thought, that's in the past, isn't it? It just happened. It's over now, and we come back to the present, to the breath and body. Sometimes we may notice discomfort in the body and have an aversion to that and want to scratch that itch or move that sore part. And usually we can just sit with that, let it be, and it may fade. For this short time, we don't have to take any action. We can just sit in calmness, patience, and quiet. Sometimes if our mind is wandering a lot, it can be frustrating. But remember, each time we notice the mind wandering and come back to the breath, that's mindfulness. That's what we're looking for. Maybe we notice we're slouching just a little bit, and straightening our dignified posture can help reestablish that awakeness, that mindfulness as well. Each time we come to sit, we have an intention of having a beginner's mind. We're trusting that the natural unfolding of this kind of loving awareness will continue to become stronger with our experience. So it's good to have a formal practice, we call it, a time we set aside, time and place each day where we sit. It can be done standing or lying down, but we usually kind of focus on the sitting position because we can stay awake and alert. Then, leaving the formal practice, we can kind of go into what we might call our informal practice, how we bring mindfulness into our daily activities. One way to do this is to set an intention to be aware doing a particular normal everyday activity. For instance, let's say we're going to use brushing our teeth. During this activity, we want to notice what's happening in the present moment, the sensations, the sounds, the colors, smells, tastes, and thoughts that come into the mind. And even when you're brushing your teeth, how many different thoughts can come through your mind? And you notice that? And then you come back to the simple bodily sensation of brushing your teeth. And you can do this for eating, getting dressed, making your bed, walking, opening, closing doors. So many little things you can just bring your attentiveness to. And this, coming back to your body throughout the day, will integrate mindfulness as a way of being that supports the formal practice to becoming more stable over time. We talked yesterday also about the pause. Just taking a minute to take a breath in certain situations, or maybe just try to do it, take several breaths each hour if you can. Come back to the present. Mindfulness is the awareness that emerges through paying attention to our present moment experience with openness, curiosity, and a willingness to be with what is.
Okay, thank you. Margot now has a piece that she's brought in for us. Whenever you're ready.
Yes. So this comes from an article that was in a newspaper where, the author was asking meditation teachers if they have advice for people right now. And this interview was with Jack Kornfield. And I thought what he had to say was very helpful. And so I thought I would just share it with you. So, just asking how people can be, a little steadier right now. So this is what he said. He said, the first step is acknowledgement and the willingness to be present. You could almost whisper to yourself, sadness, fear, anxiety, grief, longing, as if to bow to that feeling and hold it with respect. This allows the feeling to open, maybe even intensify for a bit, but eventually to soften. The next step is to bring a sense of compassion for all the fears and confusion and helplessness. These feelings are all part of the fight, flight, or freeze instinct in the body and the mind. If I make space for the feelings and they have time to be felt, it's as if my awareness gets bigger and I can hold all of this with greater ease and compassion and presence and steadiness. And I thought that was very helpful. And I think that it's something that could be integrated into the meditation when you're meditating and you have these feelings, rather than trying to push them away, to just accept them and to let them, as he says, soften. I thought that was really helpful for a lot of the feelings that we have right now.
So thank you. So if I'm feeling worried, let's say, about myself or someone in my family, and it's bothering me, it's distracting me, how is Jack Kornfield recommending that I deal with that feeling when I'm doing a sitting meditation? Could you speak to that?
Well, I think the idea is that feeling, instead of judging it or feeling like you have to push it away or I shouldn't feel this way, you accept it. It's like, oh, I'm feeling, you bow to it. Okay, I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling worried. And by doing that, just allowing it to be there, it softens it. So I think that's what he's saying, is that to accept our feelings rather than denying them or trying to push them away, to accept
So
them.
if
That's
I have the
important.
idea that I'm this really strong guy and I can deal with anything, but yet I'm really worried about my sister, who's whatever it is, I'm really worried. I have to admit that then.
Yeah, you have to allow it. Yeah.
I have to let go of the idea
And
that
yeah,
nothing can bother me.
right. And to say it's okay. It's okay that I feel this way.
It's
This
okay
feeling is
that I
okay.
feel this way.
Right. And I think that in meditation, as we've talked about, often these feelings come up, they arise as
During
we're
the
sitting
meditation.
quietly. Yes. And so oftentimes we aren't aware that we even have these feelings. And so there they are. And so what to do with them when they come up. And so allowing them and respecting them and then letting them soften. I think I like that, that idea of softening and kind of just being with our emotions and
Yeah,
accepting.
it reminds me of what Zen teacher Thich Nhat Hanh talks about, is that we hold our feelings as if they were our children.
Mhm.
So that I'm holding this feeling of fear or worry or whatever it might be, anger. I'm holding it as a father would hold or as a mother would hold a baby,
Right.
and just comforting. Is that
Yeah, I think that's very much what it is. Yes, yes. Being compassionate to yourself for having those feelings and holding them as if you would, a baby. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so the crying baby then maybe quiets down a little bit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I think
not
so.
that we want to throw the baby out the window, because they'll cry more then.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
another author, Rumi, talks about inviting your feelings in as an honored guest and just inviting them in and letting them just sit with you. I had that experience this morning, feeling fear and just inviting that feeling in. As an airline pilot, fear was not really an acceptable feeling. And now I'm learning to just let that feeling in and not run away from it. And it gets much, much less powerful when I don't run away.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think what maybe you're talking about with Rumi is that even if I'm feeling okay right now, I'm doing my meditation and nothing really is bothering me too much, I can actually on purpose, I can invite in this feeling that I was feeling earlier today or yesterday or last week, or something that's been bothering me. I can actually invite that in to my meditation right in this moment. As you would say, a guest to come in and sit down and just be with them. And then they become a lot less scary and a lot less powerful by being, that's the kind of thing. Yeah, so that takes a little bit of courage then, doesn't it, to actually invite some of these scary or repressed feelings into our mind. Yeah, yeah.
There's another teacher who suggests that inviting them in as if you're having tea is good. You may not want to have dinner with them. So there's a limit, you be with it for a while and then you move on.
And it may depend on how ugly that feeling is, right?
Yeah.
Or how powerful, or how if you go into the cave and wake up the bear, you may need to be ready to deal with that. But if it's just a mouse that's squeaking down on the floor, then that's more okay. We can handle that. Yeah.
I think it's also important to think that these are, acknowledging, being okay, accepting our feelings is not the same as getting attached to the story. So we're talking about just our feelings, not everything that, the whole story that comes with the feelings. So So I think that's important, that we're just talking about the sensations, the feelings, and being okay with those.
Okay, so
Not getting caught up, and that's where it's coming from, and so the story around it is not what you're bringing in.
so if some guy did something to me a long time ago, and I'm still angry about that, I want to get that guy. I'm still angry at that, right? So what you're saying is that we're going to bring in, or just recognize or allow that feeling of anger when it comes up, but not get into the whole thing about why and what he did, but just deal with the anger. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Or say, right now, the uncertainty, we're all feeling like what's going to happen
What's
next.
going to happen?
So our feeling of uncertainty is what we want to allow and say, it's okay to, it's okay that I feel this way, and not, oh my God, and what if this happens? And how is that going to play out? Yeah, we don't want to get, that's not what this is about.
So just one day at a time, rather than, oh, when is this going to be over, and how am I going to, and why is this happening? And
right. Yeah, you can get caught up with that story pretty easily. So the important thing is just to stay with the sensations and the feeling in the body, to stay kind of more grounded in your body, actually.
And then that feeling will sort of calm, not be as loud.
Jack says it kind of softens it, it opens up, and we're sort of able to be with that feeling because we're not trying to push it away or not allow it. So it does soften, and it kind of expands, and it turns out that, according to Jack, and I think, we've practiced this as we have feelings, and we accept them, that they do kind of dissipate. They just kind of become less powerful. I think that's what Susan
So it
said.
kind of starts out as this rock, this kind of hard thing.
Yeah.
It's a lump in your throat, or a feeling in your chest. But as you just allow that to be in your mindfulness, that it kind of gets much softer and
right. Yeah. I mean, he says, if I make space for the feelings and they have time to be felt, which is not getting caught in the story, but it's just feeling that they have time to be felt. It's as if my awareness gets bigger, and I can hold all of this with greater ease and compassion and presence and steadiness. So they, that's kind of what the idea is.
And does that relate to like what we did last time with the metta meditation, where we're recognizing that we're not the only ones that are feeling anxious and worried and upset, but that millions of people are feeling this way, and that we're wishing not only ourselves to be well, but wishing others? Yeah,
I mean, I think that it does connect with feeling compassion for ourselves, but also everyone's feeling these feelings, and so we have greater compassion for everyone.
Anyone else want to add to this? A great discussion.
I think one important thing to remember is sometimes these feelings can get really big and really powerful, and if that's happening, to just let it go and just come back to your breath and just ground in your body and let those feelings just dissipate a little bit if they're getting too powerful.
Yeah, if it's the bear that comes out and you were looking for the mouse. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Josh, did you want to add?
Yeah, just a couple of things. If it is the bear, another thing that can be helpful is kindness, like we did last week, maybe even directed at yourself. But I also wanted to say just how important for me anyway, just the acceptance piece of this is, because you notice the feeling, but then you also realize that it's just a feeling, and it's not even really your feeling. It's something that's arising in your experience. And so I used to have a feeling that was not pleasant, and I would say, this feeling is a problem. What do I need to do to fix this problem? And ultimately, that's not really helpful. Ultimately, the acceptance is a lot more helpful, because the feeling is what's going on right now, and you can't really change that in the moment. But the acceptance is what you can change.
Okay, very good. Well, let's go into a meditation practice now, where we're actually going to put this to use. Everything that we're doing here together, everything that we're teaching, needs to be useful here and now, not just theory. So let's take a few minutes and we'll apply this teaching in the moment. So first I'll start by ringing the bell. So please be comfortable and alert. And let's begin by taking a few deep breaths, slow, long breaths. And let's drop our attention from wherever it is, maybe in the head, drop it down into the chest, into the middle of the body, in the heart area. Feel the lungs expanding and the heart beating. And let the mind just clear out for a moment. And the mind is a space. It's a vast open space. You can visualize it as the great blue sky, if you like, or space, outer space, or just light, or darkness, any of these things. This is the space between the thoughts. We're all familiar with thoughts. They come, they linger, and they disappear. And for a moment, there's space before the next one. So by dropping down into the body, into the heart, we open up the space of the mind. Thoughts appearing in the mind are like clouds appearing in the sky. The wind of the breath can move the clouds, can clear them so that the sky can shine. Not just in the brain, but in the chest, in the whole body. The whole being is open and shining and clear. This is the space of our inner peace. This is the place where we can go when the storms of the world are raging and we need a place to rest. It's in the middle of the swirling storms of life, in the center, in the heart. Let the breath come in as the wind and clear the clouds. Now into this open space, let's invite a small feeling of anxiety or worry. Just a small thing, an annoyance maybe. Invite it in as a baby or a small child that's fearful, afraid, and confused. The baby or child looks up and sees you. You reach out and hold this little being that's afraid. Hold it to your chest and let it dissolve into the clear light of the space of your heart. Breathe light into your heart and breathe light out in every direction through your body. And just for a moment, you're free. Whenever the next emotion comes up, we'll know that it's passing and that we can hold it in our hearts and be with it. Because our consciousness is bigger than any emotion that may come up. And let's take a few more breaths. And please just take a moment and notice the condition of your body, your breath, and your mind. So this is how we create stability and strength. And this is how we become reliable for other people who may be being tossed by the storms of life. We can give them a word or a look or a smile, some act of kindness that helps to reduce the anxiety that's in the world. So thank you all for your practice, and give a chance for each volunteer to give a parting word or two till we meet again next week. Who wants to start?
Thank you for being here with us. We're all in a big time out here, which gives us time to be with ourselves, which can be lovely. And it's nice being with you.
Yes, it is really nice being with you, and I hope that you can enjoy your meditation and that you find a space and a time to do it, because I really think that this can be very helpful at this time.
Thanks for this time together. Keep practicing.
We can dedicate our practice to all beings, realizing we're not just doing this for ourselves, but every bit of mindfulness radiates out into our environment, our community, and the world.
Thank you all. please be well. And thanks again to Chaplain Mahar for enabling this to happen.